Hi, this is a quick little video. The reason I'm making the video is I've been contacted by the Holy Rosary CVA school. It's up in Burton on Trent in Staffordshire. A art teacher by the name of Vanessa Kirkpatrick has contacted me, and she's been doing some lessons with her students to do with street scenes. And on finding my website online, the students were inspired to paint like-minded scenes of where they live. Now, on speaking with Vanessa a week ago now, I said to her it would be fun to answer some of the students' questions, because I know that they've been inspired by what I do. And I've got a list of the questions here, and so let's go for it. The first one is by Lucy and Isme, and it says, how old were you when you started to like art? Well, when I was a child, my parents didn't actually take me to any galleries, and so the first influence I had was actually through my grandparents' apartment in Gothenburg, Sweden. My grandma and grandpa used to collect art. So they had abstract art, they had impressionist art all around the walls, and they were all originals, and it was beautiful to see. Some of it I could relate to, and some of it I couldn't. The ones that were sort of street scenes and, you know, impressionist styles, they're the ones I really loved, and they're the ones I could relate to. So, how old were you when you started to like art? Well, the answer is probably, gosh, I think probably 5, 6 when I started to notice it. 10, 11 when I really started to appreciate it, and I used to look at it on the wall and really sort of absorb myself. Were you good at art in school? Have you always been good at art? Now this is Scarlett and Sophia and Quinn. In answer to that question, we all have to learn what we do. I always say I was probably natural in many ways when it came to art, but we all have to learn our skill, and so don't think that you're instantaneously great at what you do. It takes time. And so I would say, no, I probably wasn't. And I'm still learning to this day. And I go on YouTube and I see videos from other artists who teach me sometimes how to do things. There was an artist in Australia that had a video on how to paint the water scenes, because I wasn't too sure how to go about it. And I wrote to him and said, you know, thank you so much. It was a scene I did of St Saviour's Dock years ago, and I was so grateful. So yeah, always learning. We're always looking for new techniques and styles. Who or what inspired you to be an artist? This is from Angela. Who or... well, I'll be truthfully honest, I get a little bit... how do I put it? Sometimes when I see other artists, I'm so amazed by their work. It's almost daunting. So sometimes I sort of shy away from it, because otherwise you stop what you're doing and you think, oh well, why do it, you know, when someone else is better? No, that's not the idea. You should just enjoy what you're doing. And so the inspirations for me have actually been, if I go back to what's inspired me, I used to go out to Asia quite a bit, and I used to buy original paintings from Hong Kong and Vietnam and Cambodia and places like that, and those paintings had inspired me, and they're also street scenes. I like the hustle and bustle. I'll stop there. Take 2. What was your first painting stroke drawing, Quinn? Gosh, I'm going to be so young I can't remember what my first drawing was, but the one that probably... yes, there is a painting of my parents' home in Sweden, in a little, it was a cottage in the middle of nowhere in a place called Ormel. It was beautiful, and I did that painting and I absolutely loved it, and to be honest, that's probably is my first serious painting, and I don't know where it is. I think it might be at my parents' house, but I still love that painting. It was painted with oil, actually, something I don't do these days. How old were you when you made your first artwork, Angela? Okay, like I said, very young, probably 5, maybe 6, I'm not too sure. But when I started to make serious paintings, well, I was much older. Do you prefer to paint or draw? This is Lucy and Georgia. I like both, to be truthfully honest. I think Lucy and Georgia, when it comes to pencils and I use acrylic, I really enjoy them. But to be honest, there's loads of other mediums I also like that I haven't really explored. And when I did my GCSE, I did my submission for my exam was a crayon painting. I think it was an oil crayon, and yeah, that's got great memories. So that's something I'll also be going back to. But yeah, I like all forms. I definitely like all forms. How long does it take you to make each piece of artwork? This is India and Oliver. Well, it varies. You know, sometimes you just do something in the morning very quickly. Sometimes it takes a few weeks, and sometimes it takes a few months. I have a tendency to, when I paint, it takes me a long time, because what I do is I paint it initially, and then what I do is I turn the painting round and I don't look at it. I try not to look at it for like 3 or 4 weeks, and that way, when I see it again, I see it with fresh eyes, and I go, oh, look at all those mistakes, and I can see the lines are not clean, or I can see that the colours are not right, or the shadows aren't there, and that I sometimes want to bring in some warmer colours. So it can take me ages to finish a real painting, and so I don't want to rush things, so it takes time. How hard is it to sketch? Gabriella, some things are easier than other things to sketch. Some things have got easy perspectives, some of them haven't. And to be honest, when I draw people, I'm not so keen. But I realise that capturing people in my scenes is so important, because people then can relate to it. Are you trying to reach any goals? This is Ava. Okay, I would call myself, yes, an impressionist artist. But I would also probably say I'm a commercial artist. I'm painting because I probably know my audience, and I'm trying to appease them in some ways. I know that there's nostalgia connected to the scenes that I paint, and I paint them because I also love those locations, and if I think there's something artistic in them, then I want to draw them. And in many cases I get asked to paint and draw things for people, and I sometimes say no, because I don't feel that there is something beautiful in that scene, and I like to have the freedom to choose something that I think is pretty, and that people are going to be able to relate to. Who is your favourite artist, Maya? I don't have a favourite artist, and if I do, it's probably going to be some of the it's like a Chinese artist that I've got a piece of his work, and it would probably be his work, to be truthfully honest, and I think you wouldn't know who he is, so it's no point me mentioning his name. Henry, why do you focus on street views? Henry, why do I... okay, simple question is, I focus on them because I like architecture, and I see so many great things on the streets architecturally, and I can see stories in my paintings that hopefully resonate with people. So when they see them, they can hopefully relate to it. And also, the scenes that I paint, they date back so many years. They are the influence for other types of artists, like writers. Charles Dickens walked around Bermondsey and was inspired to write many of his novels, like Oliver Twist, Christmas Carol, and knowing that is quite inspiring too. So I focus on the street scenes because it's something I can relate to and I love. Okay, why are all of your paintings of London? This is Connor. Well, I live in London. I have done some scenes of Hong Kong, and I've done the odd scene of Sweden as well, and I'm always trying to expand where I go to, but London's such a big place, and there are so many little villages within London that we don't all go to see, and it's nice capturing those different scenes and going exploring where one lives. So that's why I focus in on London. Okay, what age did you start painting? This is Magda. I think I answered this question earlier, probably 5 or 6. How how long have you been painting for? This is Janina, since 5 or 6 years old. And answer that question. Okay, what inspired you to become an artist? This is William. I didn't plan to become an artist, William. It happened more or less by accident. I had a career working in banking, and I wasn't sure I wanted to continue it. And I decided that painting was quite therapeutic. I enjoyed it and had so much fun doing it. I tried other career avenues as well. I've also a qualified teacher teaching English to foreign students. But the arts has been something I've enjoyed. There's no pressure. You get on and you see something you want to paint, you paint it, and then hopefully you find an audience that appreciates it and loves it too. Okay, what is your first painting? Eric, I would say it was a scene of my parents' house in Sweden. Now, and the most important ones. Okay, the most important ones are probably here in London. Some of the scenes of Tower Bridge are probably the most important ones to me, because it's a beautiful, iconic place, and I know it resonates and means so much to people when they see them. What is it like being famous? This is Georgia. Hey, Georgia, I'm definitely not famous, there's no doubt about that. I'm just a humble guy who lives in London, who just happens to paint, and people do love my art, and yes, they do buy them around the world, but I'm definitely not famous. And to be truthfully honest, it's overrated to be famous. I wouldn't want to be. I quite like my anonymity. I don't want to be seen on the street and noticed too much. In my neighbourhood that's fine, but going beyond it, I like to be private. Do you have a pet? And this is Ethan, Lucy, Riley, Teddy and Henry. Yes, I do. I adopted a stray cat a few years ago now, probably about 3 years ago. She's called Tiger and she is a black cat. And yes, you're probably thinking she should be called Panther, but I called all cats Tiger, and when I first set eyes on her, I would call her Tiger, and the name has stuck. But it turns out her real name is Millie, so she's called Tiger Millie. What is your favourite food? Favourite food is probably a Swedish dish called Flygande Jakob. In English that means Flying Jacob. It's a chicken dish with cream. It's got hot chili sauce, it's got bacon and banana, and you have it with rice and salad. I love it. I don't think anyone really cooks it in this country, but it's something I love. Do you like sports? This is from Scott, Dominic and Henry. I love skiing and I love ice skating. And unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of football, but if I was to name a football team, it's got to be the Millwall team, because they are our local football team, and I've got to support them. Do you have a nickname? And this is Ava, and the nickname is Mags, because most people can't pronounce my name. My real name is Magnus, my first name. And for that reason I shortened it to Mags because it was easier for people to pronounce. Otherwise they'd call me Magnus, which is the wrong pronunciation. Okay, next one is Scarlett. Do you have siblings? Yes, I have a brother. And last of all, Angelica. And do you have any allergies? No, apart from hard work. Okay, thank you so much, the Holy Rosary CVA School, for all your questions. If you've got any more, feel free to ask me. And thank you for exploring street scene paintings with me. I'd love to see what you've been doing. Thanks so much. Take care. I was just thinking, I want to end this little interview session with some thoughts on art. The reason why I said is you're all doing art with Vanessa Kirkpatrick, and some of you probably thinking, I don't want to be a painter, I don't want to do drawings, but there are so many different fields in art, and when I was young my parents didn't really talk about the different options, probably because they didn't know them. Now, since I've been an artist for many years now, probably about 13 if I start counting, I've met so many people, and I just want to share that wisdom with you. Art is not just about painting and drawing, it's about being creative. Now, if you think or you know that you're a creative person and you enjoy being creative, there are different avenues. You could be an actor, and that's also a form of art. You could be a musician, that's another form of art. You could be... I met someone who paints eyes, prosthetic eyes, and unfortunately someone's lost their eye and they need they want to fill it in and have like a similar looking eye. I met a lady who actually paints them. Now, there are lots of different careers also. It could be designing fabrics. I've met someone here in London who designs fabrics for Liberty years ago, and it's really fascinating, the processes of drawing the design and having it made onto print. I work with people who work in the print industry, who are doing magazines and posters and designs. So when you think of art, don't just think about a painting, don't just think about a pencil drawing. The creative side to it is artistic. And if you are that type of person, go for it, run with it. There are lots of opportunities, there's lots of courses later on in life. You could go to college, you could go to university, or you could just go it alone. But good luck with whatever you do. Thanks so much. Take care.